Conflict resolution. What on earth does that have to do with content recovery burnout? What does that have to do? I'm Angela Brown. I'm a content creator and I am recovering from burnout myself. This is day 20 and this is my journey back. All right. So I've asked you to do a lot of really serious things. And the serious things are give me 14 hours of your week. I can help you recover from burnout in 14 hours a week. And 7 of those hours, I asked you to unplug from the internet and from podcasting and from just listening to cool stuff on YouTube and TikTok and all the things. I asked you to spend some time alone with your thoughts. But if you're replaying conflict in your thoughts during that 1 hour, you are actually halting your creativity. So a lot of content creators, and this is based on the experience that I've had over the years working with content creators in both collaborations and brand deals and in conversations over at Lifelong Productions. One of the things that we've discovered is a lot of content creators got into the content creation business to get away from some people in their lives that have caused them conflict. I know they're running from spouses and parents and children and siblings and their friends that had negative things to say, like you'll never make it, you're not worth anything, your ideas are no good. And now they're trying to prove with vengeance that I matter, I have a voice, I have something important to say, and I'm going to get out there and I'm going to build an audience and I'm going to share it, right? That's how many content creators got started. It was to prove to someone, including themselves, that they had something valid to say and that they had a purpose and they wanted to make a difference in the lives of other people. All right. So you might be one of those content creators, but if you are still stuck in conflict, it's going to be very hard to be creative because every time you have moments alone by yourself, what happens is this. I don't know why, but why do we do this to ourselves? We replay conversations in our heads. And we sometimes even change the script, but we listen over and over and over again to these tapes of I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, somebody disagreed with me, there was an argument, I know I was right. And we try to tweak the conversation a little bit so that we can be more right. I got news for you. If you replay an old conversation that happened one time with someone else over and over and over in your head, it doesn't make you more right. And it doesn't resolve the situation. It doesn't even resolve the situation in your own head. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to actually repair the damage. And so like when we get cut and our body heals itself, well, the wounds do not heal themselves if someone else was involved. It's like they still have a knife, right? And they cut you and now you're still wounded, right? So what we have to do in the conflict resolution is we have to be the adult in the room. And it's a tough conversation to have, but we need to go back to the people with whom we still harbor hard feelings, even if we haven't talked to them in years. So how do you do that? There are a couple of different ways. The first way is that we can call them up on the phone and we can say, hey, over the years since I spoke to you last, I have matured a little bit and I have some new insights. And in the process of me maturing and growing up, I realized I left our conversation on weird terms. And I just wanted to resolve those. Is there a chance we could talk? And if they say no, then you can say, well, I'm sorry it didn't work out. I just want to let you know on my end, I'm resolving things and I'm moving on. And with that, you're free to then move on. And just that one conversation, even if it only takes you 30 seconds, is so liberating. It will remove years of angst that you've been carrying around with you. And we talked the other day about tidying up around your house because clutter blocks your creativity and that leads to burnout. Conflict leads to burnout. Okay. So there are lots of things that we keep rehashing and it's tripped up in our creativity. And so if you're one of those people that is harboring hard feelings, it's costing you. And it's costing you in terms of if you were like to fly down the road in a vehicle that's very fast, the carrying the conflict with you is like you putting on a backpack and then like trying to go the distance on a bicycle. You've got the wrong tools. Okay. Carrying the conflict with you is the wrong set of tools for a content creator. And I got news for you. If you learn to resolve conflict, When the conflict comes at you in the future, and it's going to come from brand deals, it's going to come from other content creators that have a bigger ego than you do. It's going to come from hateful trolls that will run around the internet and they stalk you and they try to cause havoc and chaos in your life. But if you learn how to manage this right now, it's going to make all of that a whole lot easier. And when you start to see the conflict coming at you, you're going to go, oh, hey, wait a second. I've seen this before. I know how to deal with this and I'm okay dealing with it. And here we go. And you'll be able to deal with it in real time instead of it tripping you up for years. Okay. So your assignment for today is go back to the people in your life. And I want you to think through all your different relationships. Is it your mother-in-law? Is it your father-in-law? Is it a child that you haven't spoken to in years? Is it a sibling that thinks you're kind of stupid? I mean, like, who is it in your life? It might even be your spouse that's in the next room that doesn't think you're going to amount to anything. They think this is just your little special project, right? So whoever that person is in your life today is the day we're going to go find that person. And if you're not comfortable talking to them, you can go to ChatGPT and you can say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to write a letter to my fill in the blank. Who is that person? My sister. And we haven't spoken in years because she got upset with me over this particular issue when I judged her parenting skills. Okay. Tell ChatGPT all the details. Don't leave anything out and say, I don't want this conversation to be about how right I am, but about how sorry I am that our conversation or our friendship went south. And in this conversation, I don't want to bring in anyone else. I don't want to say, I was concerned about your parenting skills because I care about your children. Okay. What you're doing in that situation is you're putting someone in between you, and we don't want to do that. If you're going to be an adult and you're going to address the issues, we want to address your issues only. Don't put anyone else in there. I was doing it to protect my children or my spouse or my family, or I was trying to do right by someone else. Don't put anyone else in this scenario. Okay. You want to make this about your feelings. I'm now mature. I am sorry. And I wish things were different. Can I make it right? Don't make it about anyone else or anything else or any other deals. Don't bring up the past as in making you right again. Okay. You don't have to be right in this situation. You have to be forgiving, and you have to be in how would you say, working on trying to repair the damage that's been done. That's really the only issue for this. And if you spell all the details out with ChatGPT, it will give you back a very therapeutic type of response. And sometimes in business, we write a response and then we take it to an attorney and have them look at it. This might be a situation, depending on how bad the damage is, you may want to take it to a therapist and have the therapist say, hey, listen, me and ChatGPT got together and we wrote this letter that I wanted to send to my sister because I'm trying to repair the damage. And the therapist might be able to help you walk through some of the steps. What if? What if your sister does this and what if she does that? And how do you repair that situation? Okay. You might have to write a letter. Maybe you can send the letter via email. Maybe you can send the letter in the regular mail if you don't think she's going to check the email, right? There are different ways you can address this. But the thing that you want to do is you want to address it now. You want to resolve this now, because waiting and hoping it's going to go away on its own, and then hoping that somehow when you are alone with your thoughts, you're not going to keep replaying these antics over and over and over in your head, right? The repeated conflict in your head does not resolve it. Let's just say that again. Repeated conflict in your head does not resolve it. We have to actually take the steps to meet the other person halfway. And if the other person does not want to meet us halfway, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But it's going to relieve and remove that from your life. You're going to have moments of like, oh, you know what? I spent 20 years harboring these hard feelings. And now that you've taken responsibility and you've been accountable and you say, I'm willing to meet you halfway. It's like you've gotten rid of that burden now. And now you're really free to be creative and to make the difference that you really want to make in the lives of other people. So today is the day that we do the conflict resolution exercise. And I want you to leave notes in the comments below. Who is the person that you're going to reach out to? I think two people come to mind that I'm going to do that to today. I'm going to reach out to two people today, and I'll let you know tomorrow how it goes. It might not be well received at all, and I have no expectations. But what I am going to do is I'm going to be mature, and I'm going to show up to the conversation, and I'm going to be prepared to make amends. And if nobody wants to make amends with me, that's okay, but I will know I will have done my part. All right. I'm so glad we got that out of the way. All right, let's jump over really quick and talk about progress, because on this journey of burnout recovery, I'm charting my progress on how I'm doing to recover and bounce back from burnout. My hope is that if you stumble onto something that's working for me, it might work for you as well. And if you're in burnout mode and you're really stressed out, things are not going well, you don't feel like creating content, you have nothing to lose, right? So try something radically different in hopes of getting radically different results. All right, for me, that is my sleep. I started sleeping better than I was before. And if you've been following my journey, today's day 20, I started out at 3 to 3.5 hours of sleep. Last week, I did horribly. When it comes to my sleep, I did not get very much sleep last week. On a regular basis, I got about 4 to 4.5 hours of sleep last week every night. And that was awful. It even affected some of my moods. So yesterday, I slept a little bit more, and then I took a nap during the middle of the day, and I got a total, check it out, 7 hours and 48 minutes. I know. And today I feel great. I got a way better attitude today, and I was super creative. Last night before I went to bed, I was able to get a whole bunch of extra stuff done. So I'm bouncing back, but I'm paying attention to the things that are not working, and in real time tweaking them just a little bit so I can see, is this a better time of the day to eat? Is getting a few more minutes of sleep, does that make a difference? Does 20 minutes, does an hour make a difference? What is it that makes me feel like I'm on my A game? And that's really an important thing to concentrate on, is the amount of sleep I'm getting at night. All right, my hydration. This is really important to me, and I'm really glad that I'm focusing on hydration, because since I started checking and charting my progress, I started drinking 7 16-ounce bottles of water a day. And one of the things I found is that I'm feeling great. I think my body needed more water. I think I needed more hydration. So I'm really happy about that. And I'm reporting that 112 ounces is my new norm. That's what I'm averaging every single day. All right, the next thing is my intermittent fasting. And many of you know that I started the intermittent fasting as a situation where I wanted to purge my body of all of the toxins. And I've been fasting for 20 to 24 hours a day. And I used to think that if I didn't eat every few hours, that my blood sugar levels would dip and then I'd get cranky and all the things. It was actually just the opposite. What happened is I got rid of all of that stuff, and then my body started healing itself at a cellular level, and my hunger pains have gone away. I can go a full 24 hours and I'm thinking like, wait a second, did I eat today? Have I eaten? Do I need to eat? And then I check my energy levels and I say, oh my goodness, I feel fantastic. Well, I feel like I have a whole lot of energy. Did I have any caffeine? I didn't. Wait a second, no caffeine, and I feel fantastic, and I have a whole lot of energy, and I'm not hungry. Whoa, check it out. So now, having done this intermittent fasting process, the tweaks that I'm making is I went from morning eating a breakfast meal to eating a nighttime meal, and I find that the best time of the day for me to eat that gives me the longest duration of energy throughout the day, including using all my creativity and brain power, is at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's kind of like the sweet spot for me. So I'm either having a late breakfast, late lunch, early dinner, or that's just the meal of the day for me. And I'm not really sure what to eat during that meal. Right now, I'm eating a lot of proteins, and I'm also eating a lot of vegetables, like salads, for example. So salad with maybe some chicken or fish. And that's kind of like my go-to. So I've tried other different types of food, but that's kind of where I've landed. And that leads me to my nutrition, which is, what is it that I'm eating? So for me, the focus has really been on eating no preservatives and then eating things that I can stack. So for like with a salad, I can stack lettuce and then have like squash, yellow and green squash, which is like zucchini squash, and then tomatoes and mushrooms and carrots, and stacking different vegetables on top of each other. So there's a lot of flavor, there's a lot of variety, and then using some homemade ginger dressing, which is just absolutely delicious. And I made it myself, mixing it with carrots. So it's sweet, but not adding any artificial sugars or sweeteners. So I'm learning some things about cooking and then stacking my vegetables on top of each other. And then I'm going all out. When I do a calorie count, I can eat a great big monster salad and it's got like 400 calories. So I'm like, yes, all this. And I just eat and eat and eat like I'm a cow out in a field. And I just feel fantastic. And I've lost 16 pounds over the last 20 days. And so I feel like my body is like getting back to its new norm. And I'm now getting back into the old version of me. So I feel like I've put years back on my life, and I'm really happy about that. All right, the next thing that I'm focusing on are my workouts. I've been working out 5 days a week, and yesterday was the day that I took a day off. And so I slept in yesterday. I took a day off. I let my body relax. I didn't do any physical workouts. I was in the zone, like the heart zone on Fitbit for 4 minutes. The day before it was 108 minutes. It was like all out massive action. And then I just took a day. It was just a day of solitude, a day to wind down, a day to be calm. It worked out great. So my workouts are really strong and I'm starting to feel like I'm, getting back in shape. So time will tell on how that works for me, but I'm feeling pretty good. All right, my moods have been fantastic over the last couple of days. I was at the beginning of the week a little not grumpy, but a little bit not on top of the world. And I think that's because of the lack of sleep. And when I started sleeping more, my moods returned. So when I say tweaking things just a little bit, do an energy check regularly throughout the day. And my Fitbit app and the fasting app that I'm using both have a place for my moods. And I think tracking my moods is really important because if I'm consciously aware of how I feel, then I can either tweak something a little bit or I can say, what did I do when I felt so great? And what I did when I felt so great was having a little bit more sleep or eating at a different time of the day. So right now, my body is giving me very specific messages. And because I've cleaned out all the toxins and I've cleaned out all the gunk, I can listen to my body and say, oh, this is what I need now. And then I can try to tweak a few other things, right? So we're gonna perfect the process, which is really exciting for me. All right, then the next thing that I'm looking at is the progress of my business. And in the progress of my business, there are a whole bunch of things that are happening right now that I'm paying attention to as a content creator. It's things that I don't know, things that I'm trying to learn, new programs that I'm working on, and the learning curves that I'm going through. So the challenges for me are the learning curves. And there are a couple of things that I don't know. I'm trying to learn Elementor right now, which is a page builder for websites. And there are a couple little things that I'm trying to learn. Yesterday, I learned how to create a dynamic gallery where there are lots of pictures. And as you zoom over the pictures or as you hover, a little message pops up that's like an overlay and it will like give you more information. So what you're seeing at a flat page is not exactly what's there. If you hover over it, then it comes to life. So that's kind of cool and it adds some creativity and flair to our websites. And so as technology is changing, I don't want to be the person that's like, oh, I just don't know technology and therefore I'm stuck in time. I'm like, hey, there's something new that's up. How do I learn it and how do I implement it? And where can I use it where it won't look like it's overkill, right? So I'm trying to be creative and learn how to use it so I can then turn around and share that message with other people. Because with the Lifelong Productions right now, I'm working with them to help content creators bring the best version of their projects to life. And so having new tools and technology in my toolbox makes me more able to do that. So that learning curve is kind of a learning curve for me, right? And I'm excited that I'm learning new stuff. The next thing are my challenges, and those are my challenges. They're technology challenges that are new for me because I haven't done this before. So I want to say, if you haven't followed me already, join me over at lifelongproductions.com/burnout, because this is where I'm documenting my recovery burnout. And then also at Lifelong Productions, who is sponsoring this show, they are helping content creators on a daily basis build out their websites and build out the things that will help them attract a better audience, whether it is doing the About Me page, creating landing pages, creating forms that have bookings at the bottoms of the form so people can book consultations and things like that with you, where you are able to collect money from somebody that wants a little bit more of your time. There are a whole bunch of different things we're helping create content creators put together so that they can forward their business and they can make money and stay in business as a content creator instead of having to go out and get another job on the side, so they can still do what they love. So join us over at Lifelong Productions. All right, that is it for today. The assignment for today is that you're going to patch up with somebody to whom you have conflict resolution. All right, today's the day we're going to do that. And I want to hear your progress. So leave your notes in the comments below, because I'll be checking. All right, so for today, I want you to remember two things. Number one, you matter. You matter. And number two, you are